Howdy guys and gals, welcome to the mess of the social regressive. This is kind of what the bench ends up looking like before I go out on a shoot. All kinds of little things that have to be done last minute, all kinds of little prep work. And the biggest stuff goes on right here. You guys have been wondering about the 243 Winchester barrel that I put on the Savage 12 FV here. This is my telekinesis stock. This is my telekinesis rifle. And sitting up here we have that brand new Preferred Barrel Blanks barrel. This is a 26-inch varmint profile barrel using their barrel nut, and as you can see, it's threaded on the end. I have a muzzle brake on there, and it's also the attachment for my suppressor. And a couple of times I've gone out when all the stars have aligned, everything has just been just right, where the weather is just right and all this, so that I can try to get my perfect load workups and be able to test those out at 300 yards to make sure that I can figure out what load this gun likes best. And I kind of figured out that I did some things wrong. You guys saw the previous video where I hadn't locked the scope down. I hadn't torqued it so that it was kind of moving around on me and messing up my groups. So this time I was able to get everything just aligned just right. I was able to get out to a field, get 300 yards, get everything locked down. And but before I did that, I was just kind of testing some things on my rifle to make sure that everything else was squared away. It was still shooting sub MOA, but it was just not making me happy. It was not doing what it should be. And it turns out that I hadn't really checked the barrel clearance here. This is a different barrel profile than your average Savage varminter. So it turned out that I was actually touching the sides of the barrel channel in a couple of places, actually pretty much most of the way through. So I went in, I did a bunch of cleanup work using the files and sandpaper and dowels and all that you see back here. And then I also took a little extra time to free float the tang back here. That's something that I didn't do a long time ago. I didn't know that I had to. So this now is all ready to go. I went out and I shot with this, and I gotta show you the results. There were some issues, so I was only able to shoot one type of ammo to test it. And the other ones I'm gonna save for another time. The grass was too high, and I think that some of my bullets were actually clipping blades of grass between me and the target, and I wanted to make absolutely sure that there was no interference. I'm gonna have to find another time when the weather is just right and go try it again. But this right here, this is a 10-shot group with Hornady 87 grain VMAX bullets and using Reloader 16 and BR2 primers from CCI. Yeah, that's a 10-shot group at 300 yards, and each one of those is a very different powder charge. Each of those is separated by about 0.3 grains. So these are not the same load at all. They're all kind of, stepping up to see where these are going to hit on the paper. And we're going to be able to analyze this data here soon. We'll do that in its own breakout video to figure out what my optimal load is going to be. But as you can see, overall, that barrel rocks, especially once I got the stock squared away, got the scope actually attached. 300 yards in a little bit of shifting wind that I had, and without even the same powder charge. This is going to be a monster of a rifle. Those easily fit not just in my hand, but in the palm of my hand. It's an impressive little group. And once we actually figure out what this gun likes, hitting eggs at 300 yards is going to be no trick at all. And we're going to see which ones I want to use. Now, I did go out with a couple different loads. That was the 87 grain VMAX right there. But I also did bring some workups for the 105 grain BTHP match from Hornady. And I'm expecting those to do really, really well. The 87s, they tend to do really well in whatever rifle I put them through. They're just a really cool bullet. The 75s are really good as well. But the 105s, I think are going to be some good 1,000-yard beasts in this rifle. So yeah, the way that I squared this rifle away, got the barrel channel cleaned up, it felt like a totally different rifle. This is a monster. And with this scope on top, especially the Bushnell Match Pro, you really have to check this scope out. Go check out its stats. This is taking a lot of the elite tactical goodies, and it just kind of borrows things from all kinds of different rifle scope lines and puts them into this one. So you have a reticle that's a whole lot like the Horus H59. This is the Deploy Mill. So you have the big Christmas tree type reticle, lots of data, lots of little points for you to work with. And that's the sort of thing that I really love. 6 to 24 power on there. FFP reticle for that Deploy Mill. And then it has, the locking turrets. It has a zero stop illumination and a beautiful, crisp image that you can really nail down your parallax with. It is a killer scope for those of you that are interested in very precise shooting. So maybe varminting or target shooting. This one's designed for target work. For competitors, like especially in NRL 22 or one of the other very precise sports. It'd be great for F-class. But for varminting as well. That's the exact scope that I would want to take out for prairie dogs. Now, some of the other stuff that's going on back here, we are testing 5.7 by 28. I've done a couple tests with that so far, and it is shooting very interestingly. You're going to want to see how this comes out. 5.7 by 28 is a weird little cartridge, and we're going to talk about all its eccentricities and who might want to use it where. But for now, I've been doing some tests hitting ballistics gel with body armor in front of it so we can see what kind of distances you can actually shoot some of these cartridges and they'll actually still pass through the body armor. It's been pretty fun getting out there, and I can see what the accuracy of the cartridge is like. We are going to have some good fun with it. And kind of ancillary to testing out some of the ammunition and testing out some of these rifles, we do have some other gear that's going to be making appearances. We have the Blackhawk hybrid folding sights, which so far I'm a huge fan of. You're going to want to see the full review on this later. They weigh essentially nothing. Picking up this box without the sight in it is pretty much the same as picking up the box with the sight in it. They've managed to keep it very, very light. A very good competitor for the Magpul M-Bus. And then we're also going to be able to show scopes a bit better, like that Match Pro, using this Tacticam back here. The Tacticam is one of those action cameras that you can, it's really designed for bows and for guns. It's easy to slap it along the side. They have all kinds of accessories so you can attach it to your rifle, point it forward so you can see your target, or in my case, I'm going to be using this little guy right here, which actually collects light coming from the scope. So I can look through the scope with my one eye, but then some of the light is peeled off, redirected to the camera, and you guys will be able to see exactly what I'm shooting. This is going to be a great way to demonstrate the scopes, and it's also going to be a really neat way for you to see how I take some of the shots that I do and what it actually looks like when I'm taking that shot. So you can see if I'm, kind of squirreling around before I take the shot. You can see if there's any flinch. In a way, it might be kind of embarrassing in some situations, but overall, you'll be able to see what realistic shooting is like for me, what I actually see through the scope. One last thing, tomorrow I'm going to be interviewed by the Kilo 23 group, which is dedicated to spycraft. But he's kind of getting interested more in the firearms end of things, so he's going to be asking me some questions. But you guys, let's ask him some questions too. Maybe we can turn the tables on him. Put some questions down below in the comments, things that you might be interested in related to spycraft. Maybe he'll be able to pull it from personal experience or from one of the interviewees that he's had on before. And I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys might think about spy-related stuff. And don't miss that video when it comes out. I don't know if it's going to be live on his channel. I'll put a link down below. I'll put some kind of annotation if it is going to be live. But if it's going to be kind of a rebroadcast, I'll put a link to that video around here as well. Once that goes out, we'll kind of repost this and you can check that video out. Thanks to everyone that makes these videos and all these tests possible. Thank you especially to patrons of the Destructive Arts. We have Stan and Mary and the Sportsman's Guide at the 338 Lapua Magnum level. We have Joseph Davis, we have Mr. No Name, and we have Peter at the 300 Win Mag level. And then we have a whole bunch of folks that are chipping in $1 or $2 a month to help provide the ammunition, some of the other weird gear that you see here, tools for being able to tune up some of these rifles. You guys are making it happen, and if anybody else wants to chip in $1 or $2 a month to keep videos like these coming, I'll put a link to Patreon down below. See you guys around. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Even if you didn't like this particular content, go ahead and subscribe. There's probably something coming that's more up your alley. Check out this playlist right here. This is going to have videos in a similar vein to what you just watched. These two videos we cherry-picked for you. And finally, The Social Regressive is on Patreon. So, you can become a patron of the Destructive Arts and earn some goodies while helping us to provide high-quality videos just by kicking us a few bucks a month. Thanks so much for your patronage.